The bell rings. There it is. The coin toss match is underway. Bulldog. And only a 2 count. Ace Rockwell and the world's television champion Shaun Tempers. No strangers to one another by any means.
Greg Hunter, throughout the history of any sport, there have been great rivalries. You've had Ali and Foreman, in boxing. You have the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles in football. And in NWA Anarchy, we've got Ace Rockwell and Shaun Tempers. This thing has been going on for 3 years. These guys are former partners. These guys reunited again, only to have Shaun Tempers once again stab Ace Rockwell in the back. This has been personal for quite some time.
Indeed it has. And now airplane spin from the 7-figure deal. When it comes to these two men, we look back 4 years ago, leading into hostile environment, the second ever one. Oh, crossbody, roll through, handful of tights. 1-2, and referee Brent Wiley catches the handful of tights. These two men faced off in a series of matches. Ace Rockwell's arm was broken by Shaun Tempers. Ace Rockwell's trust was broken by Shaun Tempers. Their friendship of 10 years was broke by Shaun Tempers. Then, after War Games, after just years of Shaun Tempers doing the bidding of the Devil's Rejects, we thought we had seen a change. Truett Fields and Shaun Tempers faced off over the world's television title. Shaun Tempers was, we thought, thrown out of the Devil's Rejects. Shaun Tempers turned over a new leaf. He reunited pomp and circumstance with Ace Rockwell. And then we find out all a master plan and the formation of this unholy alliance. Once again, Shaun Tempers.
And I don't know if the fans at home caught that, but Shaun Tempers went to drape that throat over that bottom cable. Ace Rockwell was able to slide out of it and fight off Shaun Tempers, however, just for a brief second.
All right now, Shaun Tempers, who has been dogged by Ace Rockwell for weeks on end, looking to put away the 7-figure deal. If he wins in this contest, then the unholy alliance of Chemo, the national champion, Phil Shatter, the NWA Elite, as well as the Strong Style Psycho Tank, and of course the world's television champion, Shaun Tempers, will enjoy an advantage through War Games. The match beyond, for those not familiar with what War Games is. 2 men start, they compete for 5 minutes. A third man enters based on who wins this match. The team that wins here will send the third man into War Games and will maintain a 1-man advantage throughout the contest. 2 minutes after the third man enters, then the team that loses here sends in their second man, evening the odds. That pattern continues until all 8 men are in. But it means that the team that loses here will forever, in War Games, 7 days from now, be at a physical disadvantage. They will have 1 man that has absorbed more punishment, who has taken more damage than anyone else on the opposing team. Right now, though, Ace Rockwell out of the way, knees collide with that top turnbuckle, and watch the 7-figure deal go to work.
Greg Hunter, it was 2006, Team Anarchy versus the Devil's Rejects. It was literally for the keys to the door here of the NWA Arena. In that match, it was Ace Rockwell with the claw end of a hammer forcing Shaun Tempers to surrender War Games and save Anarchy.
And you know, somewhere in the back of Shaun Tempers' mind, that probably still plays with him. Step over toe hold now. A move that has won world titles, made famous by both Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk, the spinning toe hold.
And you know, Greg Hunter, you were talking about things laying in the back of the mind. You got to remember, the last time that Jerry Palmer was involved with War Games was Team Anarchy against the Rejects. Jerry Palmer left in a very different state of mind he left in the back of an ambulance at the hands of the Rejects and Dan Wilson.
Specifically at the hands of Iceberg, who is now a member of Team Anarchy. That is one thing to remember as we look at the setup, as it were, of War Games, as we look at the landscape. Shaun Tempers and Tank have both been in War Games. Phil Shatter, the national champion, has been in War Games. Chemo has never been in War Games. He's been inside of a cage, but he's never been in the match beyond. Totally different animal. On the opposite end of the equation, you have Ace Rockwell. He knows the match beyond. You have Iceberg, who not only knows the match beyond, but he knows the Rejects. You have Mikael Judas, who not only knows the cage, as he was in a cage match main event at the very first hostile environment, but he knows the Elite. And you have Truett Fields, a trained soldier. He knows war. So, both sides relatively equal in regards of familiarity with the environment. Here's a question for you. Despite Jeff G. Bailey, despite Dan Wilson, the considerable will that they exert over their respective charges, here's a question for you. Dan Wilson manages the world's television champion. That's a rather lucrative arrangement. Jeff G. Bailey manages the national champion. Again, a rather lucrative arrangement. If one of them ends up in a position where their career could be over, and that's very possible in War Games, do you think that either Shatter or Tempers or even Wilson or Bailey, because they have the right to surrender even though they're the managers, would they call it off to save the investment?
That's going to be an interesting thing to see. I know Jeff G. Bailey, and Jeff G. Bailey is a very, very wise man, as is Dan Wilson. I've not agreed with him in the past, but over the past year, I've seen something in Dan Wilson that I kind of had to admit I kind of admire about Dan Wilson, an evil genius, so to speak.
Well, there's a whole lot of variables as we go into War Games. 2 members of Team Anarchy have never set foot in it. 1 member of the Alliance hasn't. And right now, everything in the world for 7 days away is on the line as Ace Rockwell begins to fire back. Reversal of the whip. Rockwell puts on the brakes. Rockwell got caught. Nice T-bone with the bridge, but only a 2 count.
Greg Hunter, you talked about Iceberg out of the Rejects now with Team Anarchy, and you talk about Shatter in this War Games match, a veteran of War Games. Shatter won War Games for the NWA Elite in 2007 by forcing Iceberg to submit.
You have a man on each team that knows good and well they can make a man on the other team quit. That also a very interesting thing to note. So much has led up. It's almost as if the last 4 years have led to this moment. As right now, neck breaker, perhaps at the very least stretching out the neck. A hangman-like maneuver here from the sleeper cell, Shaun Tempers, and it wouldn't take much to turn this into that hangman's neck breaker. But Rockwell fights out. Face buster from Tempers, clothesline, and down goes the 7-figure deal.
The thing is, you say down he goes, but is he out? Right here, 2 count only. The one thing that I've admired about Ace Rockwell over the last several years, his resiliency. No matter how much you beat up on Ace Rockwell, you would literally have to take a steamroller and run him over for him to even utter the words, "I quit." And that's something that has to weigh on the mind of the Rejects.
Shaun Tempers still favoring that leg from the punishment put on it earlier in this contest by Ace Rockwell. Rockwell, though, virtually dead weight as Shaun Tempers setting up perhaps for the Beelzebub. He got countered. Beautiful backdrop. But you know that had to take a lot out of the 7-figure deal.
And Greg Hunter, you see Ace Rockwell holding the neck. Shaun Tempers still favoring the leg, and we're only 7 days away from War Games.
Rockwell goes low. He drop kicks the knee out from under Shaun Tempers. What kind of condition will Truett Fields be in 1 week? After the boot camp match, after the brutal match with Jeremy Vane a week ago for the Anarchy title, what kind of condition will these two men be in? The leg of Shaun Tempers, the back and neck of Ace Rockwell. Figure 4 leg lock out of the 7-figure deal.
And Greg Hunter right now looking for a submission. And I said this before. What would a submission do leading into War Games?
Oh, wait just a second. Dan Wilson with a rake of the eyes. That will break the figure 4. And now, the Reverend on the run from Anarchy owner Jerry Palmer and Big Nasty. Well, no more.
Well, now the captains of their respective teams have been away from the floor. Now it's just Ace Rockwell.
Oh, wait just a second. Now out comes Jeff G. Bailey. Jeff G. Bailey, and there's the national champion. What is Shatter doing out here?
It looked like he just speared Ace Rockwell.
Right out of his boots, too. Good God.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is your winner, the NWA World Television Champion, the Sleeper Cell, Shaun Tempers.
By virtue of winning this match, it will now be the unholy alliance that has the edge in War Games, and now the national and the world's television champion pounding away. Jeff G. Bailey and Dan Wilson calling on Tank and Chemo their respective charges. Okay.